Welcome to episode 18 of Is That Your Kid podcast. Today I have a very special co-host. Jake is unavailable this week, so coming all the way from the West Coast. Sorry, I just did some Bird Dog whiskey right before we recorded.
And this episode is brought to you not only by Bird Dog, but by Bullet. Straight to your heart.
And, but as you are well aware, Lulu is here, and she's my lovely co-host of the week, coming all the way from California, time traveling from the past. Lulu, how are you doing today?
I'm doing quite well. I'm feeling the East Coast love. And I'm very excited for this unexpected Sunday gift.
Yes, it was very unexpected to me as well, as Jake just told me this morning that he is unable to make it, but he may be back later on for a brief phone call. But
Ooh.
I send my love to Jake, who I believe is in Pittsburgh right now. But it is a pleasure to have you on the show finally, Lulu. And hopefully I don't fuck up the audio when you send it over to me.
Hopefully I actually get this audio down. I think it's good, though. But much love to Jake. We miss you. To the future when we're all together.
To the future when everything's well. I forget, there was a band that had a song about that. Was it like, I think it was like one of those like graduation song bands that it's just like to the future when everything's well, or maybe it was a poet, or maybe I just drank too much whiskey. I'm not sure.
I think it's probably all three of those. But we'll go with graduation song.
Okay, all right. This week actually is going to be very, very, very spooky. This is going to be Is That Your Ghost, the episode. So everything that we do today is going to be something that you should be afraid of. So we have a whole line of topics to get into. And to right off the bat, Lulu coming in from the West Coast, she's been emailing in to our show since basically the beginning. She made a lovely theme for us, which Jake and I definitely, no lie, teared up to in front of one another.
Aww.
And I don't know if it's the first time I saw Jake tear up, but it might be one of the first. The first to a song, I'll say that.
Aw, really? I feel like you guys have held each other crying more than once.
Not to a song, though. Not to a song before. But I think he's probably seen me cry a handful of times, so he's all for it. But he did text in some questions, so this is sort
Excellent.
of like the icebreaker here to our episode, and so we know you a little bit better as well. And there's a question he had asked me that I had told you before the podcast started. I said I'm not going to ask because I'd rather not know. And that's if Lulu is your real name. Don't answer that, though.
Ooh, yeah, that's like intimate.
So let's get right into some mature content right off the bat. So we're going to be looking at some very horrific creatures, Lulu, and I just want to see which is your favorite. I'm going to give you a list here, okay?
Okay, all right, I like it.
Werewolf.
Nice.
Ghost. Vampire. Skeleton. Or witch.
Oh, man.
What's your favorite one?
I feel torn.
Or bats. I'll put a bat in there too.
Well, a bat is just a maligned creature historically, so
yeah.
I'm gonna have to take that one off the list right off the bat.
Right off the bat, bats are eliminated.
But
I'll add Frankenstein too. Last minute addition, Frankenstein.
Ooh, I would say my favorite, like, all love to werewolves and, everything to revealing your true nature once a month. But I have to say, like, I am a witch girl. I grew up, when I grew up, my biggest dilemma was whether to be a Jedi or a witch.
Yeah.
Because one controls the Force, but the other can actually create spells.
Right. And you love spells.
Oh, I love spells. So I am all. I have to say, I have to go witch.
So, yes, all witches. Hashtag yes, all witches.
Yes, no bitches, just witches.
So, what makes the witch a prominent figure in your life?
Well, besides the fact that, like, historically they've been, you know, like, the ultimate, female badass. Like, if Joan Jett had a historical, you know, ancestor, it's gonna be a witch. Um, you know, they can
Salem
write.
witch trials.
Yes, Salem witch trials, you know, they're historical healers, and probably a lot of our ancestors wouldn't have been born without that midwife. And yeah, they can not only use basic herbs and shit to heal other people. They can control the elements. They can go good or bad. You know.
Yeah.
With power comes responsibility, and generally, it's a really sexy character to be in the mythological kingdom.
And witches are very frightening too, because like one of my favorite films of all time, The Blair Witch Project.
Ooh.
You never see the witch in that film or what's going on, and it makes me believe that the witch, like, you don't know if it's just like your typical witch, what a witch looks like, or something completely different. Have you ever seen The Blair Witch Project?
I actually was too scared to see it when it came out, so I saw it my sophomore year of college.
Okay. What did you think the witch looked like in that? Like if you close your eyes and imagine the Blair Witch, what does she look like?
I think the witch is more of like an amalgamation between like a sort of a zombie, sort of hairless beast with like giant finger claws, and sort of like if a human being had been like, you know, asked for immortality but forgot to ask to like be young forever. Just this like sort of deformed, like, I don't know, like on all fours creature. Like people forget, they're like, I want immortality, but they don't specify like keeping their flesh alive. So
yeah, so they decay but stay alive.
Exactly.
It's like our dreams as humans. They decay, yet they stay so ever alive.
I know, they just turn into these like perverse zombie-like monsters that kill teenagers in the woods.
Yeah. So the witch, yes, all witches. So a witch would be definitely. You went on record to say they would definitely beat bats. Any opinions on vampires, skeletons, or werewolves?
So many opinions. Oh my god, so many opinions.
Let's knock them out right away.
Okay, first of all, vampires don't sparkle. Okay, let's just get that straight out. Let's Twihard fans, I love you, and don't get me wrong, nothing like a superhero that's basically Superman but feeds on the flesh of others. Wrong. Historically, wrong. They're dark, tormented souls. You know. If you're gonna pick any popular cultural representation of a vampire, you know, you got to go either super classic or you got to go with Buffy.
Nice.
Laying a steak.
It's the best of both worlds.
Laying a steak right there. And another pun just dropped. Werewolves I actually feel the sorriest for. I feel like they're the most human of, I mean, depending, of course, on, like, how, you know, the person.
It's very Bruce Banner, the Hulk, like that kind of mentality where it's just like, sometimes they're this, but sometimes they're that.
Yeah, and I think, unlike a vampire where, you know, they're sort of their monster the whole time, you know, a werewolf is, you know, basically a normal person with real relationships that then, you know, may wake up one day and everyone's dead. Sort of like a blackout alcoholic, you know?
I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah, I think it's the most emotionally complicated of the characters. But then you have people like Greybeard in Harry Potter who are just psychopathic killers. So
now, see, I've never read a Harry Potter novel or saw a film. Yeah, any of the films. As I mentioned, I think it was episode 15. And that should be something, a part of nerd culture that I guess it just never clicked with me. So you gotta let me know what that particular character is and does.
Greybird is, now it's been a while since I've read all the novels, but I do feel like in our generation, if you missed it right when it came out, it's hard to go back, because, I mean, when I was 11 and Harry Potter was like 10, we were compadres. So yeah, he's basically like head of the SS, if you had to think of it that way. Like, he hunts down people for Voldemort and for this like bad. He's like the worst police chief, and then he of course like eats humans and turns them into werewolves. This bad guy.
So werewolves actually are something that I always liked, but I never kind of took them in that connotation that you mentioned before. I think it was episode 6 where I read my story about werewolves, The Night in Werewolf Woods 2.
I loved that.
When I was a little boy, much smaller, much shorter than I am, because I pretty much always weighed the same, I would love to write. I would love anything fiction, and like I read all the Goosebump books, and I actually have a review for a Goosebump book, but I'm gonna hold off on it.
Oh no,
and
I'm so excited.
to kind of, because we were talking about this a bit before, you asked me what happened to the Goosebump reviews. Well, you aren't the first person to ask. We've got a few emails on that as well, but I want to read an actual story, so I didn't want to overdo literature.
Right.
But
too many words.
When I was younger, I was influenced by like R.L. Stein, Wes Craven, and most certainly like Catholic school. So those were my biggest. Well, my 4 biggest influences were R.L. Stein, Wes Craven, Catholic school, and Stone Cold Steve Austin. So all 4 of those combined, I would just write the most, like, the stupidest stories. But The Night in Werewolf Woods 2 was something that Jake read an excerpt from. But I'm going to read something I like to call, and this was unearthed early in the week, The Goblin of Grayson Wood.
Excited. All right, I'm buckling in. I'm really, I wanna see what young Todd.
Like, buckle up, because this is going to read exactly like an R.L. Stein novel, but I do murder people in it.
Whoa.
That was from the Goosebumps series. That's something that wasn't in it, but I would push the boundaries and people would get murdered.
Edgy.
So, any questions along the way, Lulu, you're welcome to ask them, because I probably just have as many questions as you do, because most of it doesn't make sense.
Okay,
and,
duly noted.
And it's well, I'll just read it. I don't want to say what happens, but okay, this is chapter 1, The Goblin of Grayson Wood. 'Twas the night before Halloween when Alex Cohn was picking out his Halloween costume. He wanted to be an evil clown, but so did everybody else, so he ended up being a werewolf. He had sharp fangs. It fit his skinny body perfectly.
True to life.
Only he had to dye the back of his blonde hair to a dark, dark brown. He loved his curly blonde hair, but that was the only costume there, and he was late. Alex was always late.
Wait, what was Alex late to?
I don't know. His baby sister Tara didn't help either. She had ugly, naughty black hair. She was skinny just like her brother.
She was already
The next
made up.
night was Halloween. He went to get Stan at his house, so we're advancing into the future and introducing a character no one knows.
Fantastic.
They were going to Halloween together. Stan was a short and a little chubby and had red hair and glasses. He was dressing up as a ghost. He didn't care if he was the same thing for the past 4 years. He liked it. After about an hour, they stopped at Mr. Day's. They were heading down Clover Avenue when Dennis and Scooter, the Marshall twins, showed up.
Whoa, wait, were you
so
at
you got all
Mr.
these
Days?
characters so far, right? So we got Alex, Stan, Mr. Day, and the Marshall twins.
Okay, we got a posse.
Yeah, so they both were identical and had the same spiked hair dyed green. It wasn't their Halloween costume, it was what they always looked like.
I like how you had to clear that up. You were like, no, that's what they went to school with.
Well, I always wanted to be like an alternative kid when I was little, so I was just like, spiky green hair. What's up, bitches? Or should I say, witches?
Oh, thunderclap.
Yes. They stared at us with a grin on their face. They dared us to go into the woods to see the so-called Goblin of Grayson Wood. I never heard of something like that, but he was offering all his candy in his bag if we only took a picture of this zombie, or whatever it was.
Wait.
We ate...
You just said it was a goblin.
Well,
right?
Or whatever it was.
Okay.
We ate candy till we heard something. Stan jumped up to look out the treehouse window. So we're in a treehouse.
Wow, I like... You're sort of like a movie. This is more like a movie script. It's just like flip, location.
Uh-huh.
All right, keep going.
Yeah. He didn't see anything. He didn't see anything. We heard it about 5 minutes later, though. Ooh. Every second it was getting louder. I decided to forget all the candy I had, 'cause we better run. Our feet could take us.
Yes.
Of course, right?
Of course.
We are feet that take us.
We are the feet that take us. It's sort of,
Ooh, louder and closer it came.
Oh
Stan tripped and fell over the bottom of his ghost costume. Ooh, still louder and closer. He got up and started to run again. As we got out of the woods, we sighed. We swore we would never go back into the woods again. End of chapter 1.
Oh, that's
How
just
we
chapter
doing?
1? That's awesome.
Thoughts? That's the end. I have 3 more chapters, but how are we doing so far, Lulu?
Thoughts? I feel like we've got a good cast of characters. I'm just wondering where the twins are.
Yeah,
And,
right? You would.
And where did Mr. Day come into this?
Oh, he didn't. He was just name dropped for later.
Excellent.
But so Alex, who is the main character, and Stan, they ran out of the woods.
Great.
And chapter 2, it gets darker from here, spoiler alert, because it gets into some of Alex's feelings that may or may have not been my feelings at the time, because I think I based Alex off of myself, because I had curly blonde hair and I was skinny. So I think Alex is actually me.
I don't think that. I think that's pretty apparent to us all.
So get your ice cream ready, because I just gave you a scoop there.
Oh, I love that saying.
Okay, chapter 2. The next morning, Stan and I were scared. We didn't know what the marshals would do to us. I guess the marshals are like really mean.
Are you like? Is this like a town under martial law or something? Like what's happening?
Oh, that was the best spawn so far. At least I was going with Stan to the after Halloween dance our school had. Finally, I'm in the 6th grade, so I could go.
Yeah.
Grayson Wood PS 134 isn't like it used to be.
What?
Now that the marshals moved in, here's a great part. DJ Jam is a great DJ, on the other hand, and he would be DJing the dance. Stacy Jones is the prettiest girl in school. That's the next sentence.
True enough. I like the way this boy's. He's like, there's a good DJ. There's a hot chick going. I'm in.
So Stacy Jones is the prettiest girl in school. Brian Stoker is already going out with her. When the dance came, Scooter Marshall never showed up. Dennis Marshall was there, though, making trouble as always. Scooter is never late to any dance. I sat back waiting for Scooter. Stan was requesting some songs when I saw him. It was the Goblin of Grayson Wood, and he was standing outside the dance.
What?
He was hiding in a bush about 5 feet in front of the woods. I jumped up, forgetting about Scooter's disappearance and Stan waiting in line to request a song. I ran out the door. The goblin ran in the woods. Just then I could hear Scooter's voice. He was tied to a tree. He told me the goblin tied him up. He was shaking and tears were running down his cheek. I never saw a kid so mean turn to so sad so quickly.
Aww.
What? Oh. Okay, where was I?
So many questions and thoughts. Keep going.
So many questions. What happened? Who's Stacy and who's Brian and why do I like Stacy? Or I mean Alex, not me. It's not based on me.
No, I think
right?
I know why you like Stacy, but where the fuck did Brian go? And why were you like Stan is requesting songs from DJ Jam?
I don't know. DJ Jam's pretty cool though. Anyway, Stan and Dennis finally noticed me helping Scooter. Stan and Dennis ran out and asked me what happened. I told him I would tell him in the car. I still wanted to dance with Stacy, but Brian would kill me. We ran inside. People were leaving. The dance was over. I blew it.
No!
I said, I blew it. So there's a goblin tied up one of my friends to a tree, and he's crying. And I'm like, forget this. I wanted to dance with Stacy. But we ran inside. People were leaving. The dance was over. I blew it. I was too shy to ask Stacy to dance.
What?
Stan was talking to Brian. It sounded like he said that him and Stacy broke up.
No. Oh, so you really missed your chance.
Yeah. Yep. She was on the market, and Alex missed it.
Oh.
This was my only chance. I walked up to her to tell her that I liked her, and as I was about to do that, the lights went out.
Dun dun dun.
All the doors locked with a bang. We were trapped like rats by the goblin in the school. So that's the end of chapter 2.
Wow.
Hanging in there? Any questions? Any new questions posed?
Oh my god, it's such a wild ride. First of all, I like how it's clearly like an open air gym, because like you're sitting in there looking at DJ Jam and Stacy, thinking about how you want to get on that, and then you're like, oh wait, but there's my friend in the woods tied up to a tree. Run.
And I was willing to. I helped him. Not that I didn't help him. I keep saying I. Alex helped him. That Alex was like, I really dig this girl. I probably should like try to say something to her. And then the lights went out.
But I think what's happening here is, so Alex, not you, is
not
a good,
me at all.
Not you. Is a good guy who goes out to help his friends, and because he helps his friends, he loses an opportunity to possibly dance with his future girlfriend. So
yeah,
you clearly
and she just broke up with Brian.
Yeah, but you didn't know that at the time.
Alex didn't either.
Yeah, Alex didn't. I mean, not you. Alex had no idea, but he's still like, oh man, by helping out my bros, I lost this chance. But it still says a lot about Alex, you know.
I think it says a lot about Alex. He's willing to help his friend out to a certain extent.
Even if it loses his chance at Stacy Jones.
It's Stacy Jones. She was the prettiest girl in school. So, any thoughts on starting chapter 3 here? And where do you think this will go?
Well, I'm excited at the Carrie-esque starting of this. I mean, it's very like, pig's blood and all that.
Yeah.
I think your young self had a lot of, good, fictional impulses here. So I'm stoked. I want to see what happens.
Okay, so 2 more chapters. Stan, Dennis, Scooter, Brian, Stacy, and me were all trapped by old Sticky Face himself, the Goblin.
Sticky Face.
So we decided to split up to try to find a way out.
No,
the Marshals had to come with me. I could never tell Stacy I liked her.
What?
That's what I said. I mean, that's what Alex said to himself. I could never tell Stacy I liked her.
Why is Alex cockblocking himself? She's
I
available.
I don't know. Maybe Alex is too shy.
Alex should have taken her with the Marshalls with them, away from Brian.
Yeah, I know. But soon enough, the Marshalls started bothering me.
What?
They kept talking about us running away from the goblin the night before, and how that made us wussies, and Stan tripping over his costume, mainly about the so-called beating that they owed Stan and I.
What?
So what?
You just
so
saved
what?
his life.
Maybe. So what? Maybe Stan and I chickened out. All of a sudden, I heard Stacy scream.
No.
"Stacy!" I yelled really loud, but nobody answered. It was silent. Then all of a sudden we heard 2 pair of footsteps coming after us.
Uh-oh.
Dennis was the fastest of us, so he went ahead. "Wait," I heard a voice call. It was Stan's, period. Brian and Stan were running to catch up with us. I just noticed that Dennis must have never stopped, or maybe he ran too far ahead, because we could no longer hear him or see him. Maybe the goblin got him, ?
Uh-oh.
But we knew for sure now the other Marshall twin had disappeared, and so did Stacy.
Oh my god, what is it about these Marshall twins? They're like
I don't know.
prime pickings for the goblin.
We decided that we should break a window to try to get out. It worked. Now we should go get help. Mr. Day's house was the closest house to the school. We called the police from there and told him Stacy Jones and Dennis Marshall are missing. They got right to it. The next morning, we didn't have school at all. Dennis and Stacy still weren't found. End of chapter 3.
Bum, bum, bum.
So, Scooter, I sort of saved Scooter, and then we went back in the school. The doors were locked, the lights were off. Dennis ran off. I heard Stacy scream, so Dennis and Stacy are gone.
My only questions to this are, Marshall twins are talking about giving you a beating when
Yeah.
you just totally untied them from a tree, one of them.
Yeah.
Now another one is gone.
Mm-hmm.
These fools clearly have some sort of, they've probably been messing with this goblin. This goblin has it out for them. And Stacy's a cute girl. I mean, so obviously she's a mark. She's gonna die.
A sixth grade girl is definitely something the goblin wants.
Definitely. And I like though how you circled back to Mr. Day. Look at you. You're not just dropping names. Look at that author in you, bringing it all back.
Yeah, so the goblin loves sixth grade girls, and maybe he just has a thing for the Marshalls because they're troublemakers. Also, it's weird that I'm friends with them, but they threaten to beat me up all the time.
Yeah, that sounds like an unhealthy relationship for Alex. Not you.
For Alex, yeah. But here is chapter 4 actually ends on a cliffhanger because I think that I meant to write more of the story and never did.
You know what I
because
think
you'll
you
see how
should
this
do?
ends and you'll be like, what? That can't be the ending.
All right, but
so maybe in my adult life I might continue the story.
That is what I'm saying. I'm saying, honestly, we got an amazing story from you and Jake about a lizard and a man who clubs that lizard to death because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why not?
Was that episode 12? Episode 12, Jake was a salamander or a lizard,
Yes,
and I
it
was a
was.
fisherman.
Yes, a fisherman and a salamander. I would say with such a rich beginning, why not carry on the beginning after we hear your cliffhanger?
Mm-hmm. So this is chapter 4, and this is the last written chapter of the Goblin of Grayson Wood. Are you ready?
Thunderclap.
Boom. It just hit. The police came to Mr. Day's. They needed us for questions. I couldn't believe that the girl I liked was gone. She was the only girl I ever liked.
High standards. High standards.
I feel bad for Scooter. His twin brother was gone too. but Stacy was gone.
You're like, priorities, dudes.
Scooter himself was in the clutches of the goblin before. He must know what it feels like. He must really feel bad about his brother. The police checked our stuff. They found a piece of flesh on Scooter's boot. It was the goblin's drippy face.
Sticky
This
face.
this next line, I don't know what I meant by it. I think I was trying to get like an atmosphere, sort of like, I don't know, but okay. They found a piece of flesh on Scooter's boot. It was the goblin's drippy face. Peaches always down his cheek.
I can't wait to comment
got that
on
when the
that.
goblin tied him up. The police surrounding Stan and I as we went back into the school. Brian and Scooter were too upset to see Brian's ex-girlfriend and Scooter's brother maybe dead. So it's confirmed Brian and Stacy did break up.
Yeah, dude, he's over it. Like,
Yeah. Who could really blame them for being sad? Who could blame anyone for being sad? Jesus Christ.
so many good things.
Alex was going through some times.
Yeah, I mean, he knows sadness, clearly. So continue.
Yeah, whoever wrote Alex knew.
Knew some sad times.
Yeah. The police checked every locker. They went in the boys' bathroom when it happened. The lights went out again. The doors locked. This time, the blinds went down, so we couldn't find the windows to break.
Wait.
We yelled for the cops. No one answered. But then we heard Scooter and Stacy's voices yelling again for help. Stan and I were running to their voices. The dark school was now turning even darker. The sound of "ooh" echoed in the halls. We kept running. "Help!" we heard Stacy cry. "Help!" We heard them again. Then it happened. The sound of a knife going through skin. We knew now the cops, Dennis, and Stacy were dead. End of the story.
I knew you were gonna end it there. Oh, man.
And that is The Goblin of Grayson Wood.
Wow.
Written by myself. I'm assuming I was in the 6th grade because Alex was in the 6th grade.
Yeah, I mean, I would, I mean, not many people out of the 6th grade above would be like, oh, that 6th grade chick.
Yeah.
Hot.
Stacy Jones. And, you know, there's a lot to be said about Stacy and Brian's relationship, I think. Because it seems like prior to the story starting, they had to be on somewhat rocky ground if they're just going to break up at a dance, you know? Because you just don't, you know, you don't start and finish a breakup at the dance.
What I feel like, now as a female who has been in the 6th grade, I think that they actually probably broke up before the dance, but the dance was them going public with a breakup.
I see. Have you ever broken up with somebody at a 6th grade dance?
No. Well, I went to a school where in the 6th grade we didn't have dances, so my first dance was like in the 7th grade. But still, like at summer camp and stuff like that, when girls were either together or had just broken up, like usually the dance was a good place to make that public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like that's where you kind of make it known that you're no longer with your significant other.
Exactly. I mean, because all the nitty gritty has happened. You know, like the kissing has been bad. You know, you haven't met under the bleachers for a while or whatever.
Mm-hmm. You've started to sit with somebody different at lunch.
Exactly. Someone, you know, some other dude gave you his potato chips.
Yeah.
Like it's it's complicated, you know. But
Well, maybe that's what Alex was looking for. Just maybe some of those potato chips she wasn't given.
hey,
You know,
salty and sweet, dude. That goes a long way.
But I think there's a lot of backstory too. I'd love to know the relationship between Alex and Stan seem like best friends, but the Marshalls, it seems like they have a love-hate relationship with the Marshalls, and they were always mean to them, but they were still friends.
Yeah, I'm really actually curious about that because, like, I feel like you save, you know, one of the twin brothers, and usually twins are pretty, you know, close, and so you would think that after you saved one of the twins that they would not want to do a beating down on you. You know.
On Alex.
On Alex. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You know.
I just couldn't get away with it, though. But where do you think the story will go from here?
Where do I think it will go? Well, first of all, I like that you ended with a very graphic image of the knife going through flesh.
Yeah.
That was a pretty... I was like, that's a sound that I think you would only hear if you were extremely close.
Yeah.
Like that's not something you can hear down a hallway.
And to know what that sounds like.
Yeah, that was a moment where I was like, somebody has read a lot, or Alex must be standing like within maybe 6 feet of this happening. And plus,
so
there's no
the
guarantee.
The town of Grayson Wood was pretty haunted.
I would say that's a 5 out of 5 ghosts.
Because it was certain that it was a ghost. Well, it was a goblin.
Which is not a ghost.
Which is not a ghost.
Very different to kill a goblin than a ghost.
Right. And so it was a confirmed goblin who murdered someone. So to say what's haunted and what's not haunted, that's haunted. That's fact that it was haunted.
Though, it may not be haunted. It may just be a hellmouth. So it may be... Because to say haunted, you're implying ghosts in a past history. But if you're a portal to hell, then you're going to have a lot of demons and goblins. Those are a different kind of thing.
That was a goblin.
Right.
Yeah.
But can we just circle back to a moment to one of the best lines in the entire story?
Yeah.
What is it about eating, like, peaches down his mouth?
Yeah, he had peaches going down his cheek or something like that, I said.
Any thoughts on that, Todd?
As the writer of that particular line, what I think I was trying to convey is the piece of flesh that was on Scooter's shoe was the flesh of the goblin, and the flesh was like peaches running down skin.
That's...
Bad metaphor. I don't know where I was going with it to answer your question, but that is where I went.
Well, I can kind of see it because you've already called the goblin Sticky Face.
I did.
And, like, if you're eating peaches and the juice is running down your face, it gets really sticky. But if you can imagine the skin sort of melting off like peach juices running down your chin.
Yes. So Grayson Wood was haunted, and speaking of haunted towns, get ready for Is That Your Ghost?
Is that your ghost? Haunted towns.
Now, this week for Is That Your Ghost? Haunted Towns, we're taking a look at Key West, Florida.
Yeah, so much good stuff on this town.
Yes. Now, you might think Key West, spring break, you know, girls in bikinis, meatheads that are all tan and flexing and still have the ski jump bangs haircut, hanging out, drinking some brewskis. No. Key West is much darker than that.
So much.
So, taking a look at Key West, Florida, and again, for first-time listeners, What Is That Your Ghost is we take a look at maybe a haunted town. We just bring up facts from a town, and then at the end we rate it out of 1 to 5 ghosts based on how haunted we think it is. So we're going to take a look at Key West, Florida. Now, some information we have on Key West, Florida. Sunny Key West might not seem like the most probable setting for haunted houses, but this small beach community, home to some of the oldest and downright creepiest of all ghost stories. The city's rich history of buccaneers, and we all know how scary buccaneers are. Like, let's be real. Buccaneers are scary. And rum runners, which seems like a derogatory term for a buccaneer.
Yeah,
Like,
I feel like that's a
If you
downgrade.
didn't like a buccaneer, you call them like, oh, you're just such a rum runner. Provides the backup for a lot of these ghosts, like those that are said to haunt Captain Tony's saloon.
Captain
So-
Tony?
Captain Tony, his saloon. Buccaneers and rum runners.
I feel like
haunt
Captain
it.
Tony is the least piratey captaining name ever. That's like
Well-
Captain Jim.
Captain Jim.
Or like
So-
Captain Perry.
Yeah, Captain Tony. Before it was a bar, Captain Tony's was supposedly the location of the island's morgue.
Ooh.
And that the tree that grows through the building's center is said to have been a major site for lynching pirates and other criminals. And many are said to still haunt the premises today. So rum runners, buccaneers, pirates, they were all lynched
Whoa,
on
whoa,
the
whoa.
former site of Captain Tony's saloon.
But more than that, I was looking into it. Apparently, it was called Cayo Hueso, which means
Oh.
Key West. But
Mm-hmm.
it was a communal graveyard. Yes, it means bone cay. It is said the island was littered with the remains of bones of prior native inhabitants.
That's scary shit right there, Lulu.
What? What? Because it used to be like, you know, Native Americans, and they were like, we're the Spanish.
Anyway, other local ghosts concern, depending on who you talk to.
No.
Other local ghost stories concern the writer Ernest Hemingway, who kept a home on Key West for some 30 years.
He
Hemingway's house, now a museum dedicated to his life and work, is said to the house's ghosts. So where Ernest Hemingway used to live, they said he still haunts it. Some visitors and workers claim to see him walking the grounds, while others have heard the clicking of his goddamn typewriter coming from the inside of the main house. So
It's his-
Ernest Hemingway haunts where he used to live in Key West. So this is completely different.
This is like a
from the
literary
pirates.
haunting. But I do have I have a story that can one up this. Are you ready for
Okay.
this?
I hope I'm ready.
All right, hold on. Okay, so this is about Robert the doll.
Robert the Doll.
Yes. Or hold on. Cigarette lighting.
Yeah, light
So-
that cigarette.
Yeah, you. So
You smoke? I never knew you smoked. Of course, I don't really know anything about you, right?
yeah. No, I think this is the first time we've actually had like a vase conversation.
So Lulu smokes. Thunderclap.
Boom. I do. Don't worry. They're American in spirit. No
Okay.
additives added.
Mhm.
But this, I found this because you were like, we're doing Key West. And I was like, oh, awesome. I'm so excited. Because any, island, also it's near the Bermuda Triangle. So
Mhm.
you've got a lot of washed ashore people. But I found this and I was like, Todd and Jake is going to love this.
Mhm.
Okay, so Robert the Doll, otherwise known as Robert the Haunted Doll or Robert the Enchanted Doll, a doll that was once owned by Key West painter and author Robert Eugene Otto. The doll is said to be possessed by evil spirits and has a terrifying reputation.
Terrifying.
Ba, ba, ba. And if you're looking at this picture of this doll, it's
I'm
really-
looking at it. I'll put that on our Tumblr as well. You could check it out as isthatyourkid.tumblr.com, Robert the doll. I'm looking at Robert right now.
Robert looks seriously effed up. But, okay, so they move him around for ghost tours and everything like that. But the story is, so Eugene was given the doll by a Bahamian, someone from the
Bohemian,
Bahamas. Someone from the Bahamas. Servant. Okay. This episode, by bullet, shot to the tongue, was skilled in black magic and voodoo, and was displeased with the family. Soon afterward, the family supposed that there was something eerie about the doll. Eugene's parents, after heard him talking to the doll, and thought that the doll spoke back, but they realized that the doll was actually speaking. Neighbors saw it move from window to window. Sometimes Eugene would scream, saying that Robert knocked over furniture. When Eugene died, this is his doll, by the way, his little keepsake in 1974, they left the doll in the attic for somebody else to buy the house, which is a very nice, I guess, present to your new family moving in. The new family moved in with a 10-year-old girl, and the girl began screaming out in the night, claiming that Robert was moving around the room and trying to kill her. And so now they put it in like they move it around to different museums in the Key West, and wherever it moves, strange activity begins. It was the inspiration for Chucky. I think there's probably a very rich history of haunting.
There's a very and you said Chucky. It was based on Chucky as well.
Yeah, this doll is the inspiration for Chucky.
Mm-hmm. And also, with that said too, what's that? I just got a bag of something. I got a bag of tacos. Let's interrupt the ghost story for a bag of tacos.
What?
Yeah.
You got a bag of tacos?
Yeah, I got a bag of tacos. Or quesadillas.
Somebody loves
Are
you.
these both mine? All right. Thank you.
Damn, somebody loves you.
So I'll be eating this for dinner. What was I saying? Oh, also, I wanted to add to, the playwright, the American playwright Tennessee Williams. He lived in Key West.
Yes, he did.
Yes, and Tennessee Williams
With the
died
little tattoo.
by swallowing the cap to his eyedropper. Like, he had very dry eyes, and he would always, like, squeeze some eye-dropping stuff in there, solution into his eyes, and he died by choking on the cap. As the band, one of my favorite bands ever, The National, they have a song called Don't Swallow the Cap, and very few know, but Don't Swallow the Cap was actually an homage to Tennessee Williams, who died in Key West.
And apparently the only time that Hemingway and Williams ever met was in Key West.
There you go. How about that?
Whoa.
So,
Whoa.
we have all this information on Key West. Out of 5 ghosts, Lulu, as my co-host this week, out of 5 ghosts, what are you looking at Key West being?
I'm giving it 4 out of 5, and the reason I'm not giving it 5 out of 5 is because I feel like there is a great opportunity for ghosts to move on after having been there, but between the Native American deaths, the pirate deaths, the Bermuda Triangle being very close, and anytime you have a sailing town, you're going to have a lot of widows walking around. I'm giving it 4 out of 5.
Well,
how about you, Todd?
I will also give it a 4 out of 5. So that's a pretty big haunt score. So combined, Key West, Florida, 8 out of 10 ghosts. That was pretty good.
I think that's the highest grade you guys have ever given the town.
Well, it's my privilege and honor to have you on the show today, to be that person that gave a high mark to Key West to put it there.
Excellent. Oh, and Todd, can't forget, you guys do Father of the Week, but I thought since we're doing Is That Your Ghost, I would do Witch of the Week.
Witch of the Week. Yes, all witches.
And because for you guys, I thought, You know, and I would pick somebody who also is on the radio and is very famous, Margot Adler. She is actually a big correspondent for NPR.
Okay.
And she is also a Wiccan priestess and witch. Yes. So Margot Adler, being a very cool bitch, very well educated, did a lot of awesome, very early radio work. Is also, if I do believe, she's an elder in the Covenant of the Goddess, which is one of the national organizations. I did a lot of research on this, aka Wikipedia research. So don't, But
no, that's great. That's great.
only...
That's what Jake and I base our podcast on, is Wikipedia research. So that's fact to us.
But she has been a Wicca practitioner for a long time, as well as a great reporter, and actually wrote a book in 1979 called Drawing Down the Moon about neo-paganism, which was a huge deal. But the Covenant of the Goddess...
Very successful, too. It sounds like she's a very successful witch and woman.
Yeah, she's still a part of... she's like a very common voice on All Things Considered.
Yeah, so liberal witch as well. So she's... shout out to you liberals out there.
What up, West Coast?
West Coast, yeah. So from coast to coast. I don't think a podcast has done this before.
Dude,
I mean, they probably have. But,
How are your tacos, Todd?
I don't know. My sister brought them to me, and something's weird about them, because they're not like warm and they're not cold. They're like that left out kind of temperature. And so they're just like a soggy, it's like soggy bread.
I just don't think you can have a good taco on the East Coast.
No, there is no good tacos on the East Coast. You need authentic Mexican food.
Because you need authentic Mexicans.
And I love them.
Many of those.
But yeah, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. But anyway, yes, all witches, witch of the week. Lulu? Hello? Lulu, did I lose you? Uh-oh. Hello? Well, friends, it seems like Lulu, our West Coast time-traveling reporter, has molecularly disassembled back into the past. Lulu, could you hear us? Kids out there, let's hope that Lulu is back soon, because she has seemed to have disappeared back into the past, where she is from. Uh-oh. Jake is going to be bad about this. I guess I gotta call him to send this out.
Hello.
Hey, brother, what's going on?
Hey. Oh, nothing. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm just wrapping up the podcast. Lulu has just molecularly...
Miraculously?
Yeah, no. Let's wind that back. Lulu just have... I got drunk again, bro, on the podcast. Anyway, yeah, so we're wrapping everything up. Lulu has just molecularly disassembled. Let's try it again. So we're just wrapping up, and Lulu has molecularly... I'm keeping this all in, by the way. I'm keeping this all in. Let's try to do it again. So we just finished up, and Lulu, our West Coast time-traveling reporter, has just molecularly disassembled back into the past. So we talked about Is That Your Ghost? We talked about Key West, Florida. I read my story. I asked those questions you asked. So it was all for a spooky episode, but we didn't want an episode go by without you sending out, brother. So, any words?
Don't be scared. Spook on. Molecularly disassemble anytime you want.
All right, bro. Well, thank you for coming live from Pittsburgh, and Jake and I will catch you next week. See you, everybody. Peaches always down his cheek.